gotta itch on my brain. Lately my whole aim is to maintain and regain control of my mainframe. My blood's boiling, it's beating out propane. My train of thoughts more like a runaway train. I'm in a fast car, driving in the fast lane. In the rain, and I might just hydroplane. I don't fear none of my enemies, and I don't fear bullets from Uzis. I've been dealing with something that's worse than these. To make it fall to your knees, and that's the anxiety, sane and the insane rivalry. Paranoia's run me to my knees. Lord, please, 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 take away my anxiety. Sane and the insane rivalry. Paranoia's run me to my knees. Lord, please, 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 take away my anxiety.
My head keeps running away, my brother. The only thing making me stay, my brother. But I won't give in to it, bro. Gotta get myself back now. God, I can't let my mind be tied. My enemy is my own. Got to find my inner wealth. Grasp a hold of my thoughts. I can't get caught. I can't give into it now. Emotions are trapped, sitting on lock. Got my brain stuck, going through the motions. Only I know what's up. I'm filled up with pain, try to gain my sanity. Everywhere I turn, it's a dead end in front of me. With nowhere to go, gotta shake this anxiety. Got me feeling strange, paranoia took over me, and it's weighing me down. And I can't run any longer, y'all. Knees to the ground.
I don't fear none of my enemies, and I don't fear bullets from Uzis. I've been dealing with something that's worse than these. To make it fall to your knees, and that's the anxiety, sane and the insane rivalry. Paranoia's run me to my knees. Lord, please, 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 take away my anxiety. Sane and the insane rivalry. Paranoia's run me to my knees. Lord, please, 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 take away my
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Special Media. My name is Special Ed, and tonight we have round number 8 of the MXL Pro Championship, and this is a good one. We have a very close battle for our points championship, only 4 points separating our top 2 riders. That is going to be Rax and Kozak. Currently, Kozak holding on to that number 1 spot as of now. But as we all know, in the game of MX bikes, anything can happen. 2-moto format. So a lot of cool stuff. A lot of racing action coming at you here tonight. We do have an absolutely stacked class on top of that. So this race is really up to anybody's kind of own demise. Hockey being our top qualifier here today, a 132.1. Just behind him, Source with a great ride here, a 132.3. Right behind him, another 132.3 is going to be the man Willie on that SPX Performance. Has putting in some solid rides lately. So we're going to have to see if he can continue that star game. Once again, another fast qualifier in that 132 range. We also do have Aqua's going to be right at the top of the 132 with a 132.999. So just our top 5 all within less than a second of each other. Just outside of that, there's going to have our man Kozak, the red plate holder and a number 1 plate guy, as he did win our championship last year. Dead President, I'm not sure. I think Rico sometimes does a full B main, sometimes he doesn't. I think because we have a full class here tonight for the B class, he will probably put up a B main for you guys. Moto 1 should be kicking off here in just a few minutes. We're just getting our admins all loaded in. Once we get everybody in, we will start to head towards our racing. It looks like we do have most our riders already in the lobby. Just going to get a few things dialed in. As always, a huge shout out to everybody that makes all of this possible. Obviously, all of the guys, MXL, Rico, and that whole crew have done such a phenomenal job with this whole series. And then just on top of that, just all of the work that those guys put into this is just absolutely phenomenal. This series has been a great one. Last year was awesome. So this year we're going to be killing it again. Obviously, we are on round 8, so only 3 more rounds to go, really, to see who is going to decide who is taking home the championship and who's going to be walking away with that number 1 plate, along with, I think it's $250 in cash. I could be wrong, but it's definitely a good series. There's been a lot of fast guys that have came in and out of this series, but obviously our front, I would say 10 are all very well-known aerial names. So yeah, definitely huge shout out to Rico and that whole crew. TPR, AB Customs, THV, CBS, and VM Visuals. You see that on this side of the screen. We also have CBS, Chase Black Suspension. Make sure you guys go check him out. And then last but not least, just to this side right here, Club MX Training Facility out of Chesterfield, South Carolina. Those guys, if you haven't checked them out, make sure you guys go take a look. You guys probably recognize the name in pro motocross, but they also do a whole bunch of training and everything down there at the facility. If you've never made a trip down there, I highly recommend it. Even if you're just going to take a look, it is a really, really cool place. I think they got 11 tracks or something like that at this point. So make sure you guys swing on down there, take a look, see what they got going on. But with that being said, we are going to kick things on down to our track cameras. Make sure we are ready to roll for our racing here tonight. Once again, it is a 2-moto format. So basically, first place is 25 points, and then I believe 22, and so on. And then basically at that point, whoever has the highest scores at the end of both motos is going to be our overall winner here tonight. Mr. Bunts, I think that might be how you say it. Appreciate it, man. Welcome on in. Appreciate that follow as well, dude. Hope you enjoy. Crazy. Yeah, he's got 20 bucks to see if Kozak wins the chip or not. That is it is going to be interesting. Like I said, only 4 points separating our top 2 riders. And if we actually take a look at our overall, Hockey really not that far off it either. Only 20 points. And I know 20 points sounds like a lot, but really when it comes down to it, a couple bad motos out of our front 2 guys, and Hockey could really be looking at an opportunity to slide his way into either a 2 or even a 1 spot. So it is definitely interesting to see how all of these races are going to be shaking out. And then obviously a lot of these tracks being pretty challenging for a lot of these riders. I think we did take another kind of barely a click up on the E-Road, so that should be interesting as well. Aaron Clips, what is going on, brother? Welcome on in. Appreciate that follow. Positions on the left-hand side of the screen, that was all done by myself. The whole bottom bar and the little top bar that you guys see, that is all done by the man Eltrix. Same thing if you guys caught my booth or anything, that's all done by our man Eltrix. He is VM Visuals. You can see him up there at the top. Discord is special media. I have a button for it. Let's see if it works. So that's my Discord. If you guys have any questions or want to check out anything, make sure you guys hop on in there. All the sponsors and everything are all linked. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to shoot me a DM on Discord as well. I'm Special Ed in there. Frylock, yes, Rax is on a Kawasaki once again. Last week he was. And so he's going to try it again this week. He said the bike's feeling good. He's able to get good starts on it. And we're going to see if he can contend with all these KTMs that was called out just a bit ago. This whole field is all KTMs. So it should be interesting to see if he can hang back up there. I said last week he was able to prove himself. But obviously this track here in the Czech Republic, a very gnarly track. If you guys haven't seen this one, the 2025 GP Series for the aerial season taking place here. And a lot of gnarly ruts, a lot of gnarly braking bumps, a lot of high-speed downhills and everything that can come up and bite a lot of these riders. Was talking to a whole handful of them just before we got into qualifying today too. And they were all talking about how one mistake at a bottom of any of these hills can be detrimental to a race. And that is very true, especially as we get rolling off the start here. It is going to be everything. This hairpin 180 left is going to be very crucial to get out to a good start. Start to check away as we make our way back around towards that finish line for the first time. And then leaping down that Bennington Racing downhill. The link is broken. I'll have to take a look just to make sure. Are you talking about the race series for MXL? But as we do have riders heading on down to the gate here, as we get ready to go racing here for Moto number 1, obviously the men to be keeping an eye on here is going to be Ricky Bobby, also known as Rax. He is on that Kawasaki here tonight. The other one is going to be Kay Bailey on the AEO KTM machine. That is Kozak. So those two running 1 and 2 in our championship. So these guys going to be duking it out down to those checkered flags as we finalize our final few rounds here in this MXL Pro Championship. But I do believe that 30-second board is going to be going sideways here. So revs are going to be going up. And who is going to be grabbing whole shot here in Moto number 1? And we are about to drop gate. And there it goes. Riders are flying down this straightaway and piling into this 180 left-hander. And look at the absolute carnage. And that is not who you want to see out front if you are a Rax fan. That is going to be Kozak, but it looks like we're going to get a reset. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe rider not loaded in or something, but we are going to get a full reset after Kozak was able to grab the hole shot. It gets red flagged, so we are heading back down to our starting line. If you guys didn't know as well, on Friday we kick off the aerial supercross season with the pro series. If you guys haven't heard or didn't take a look at all, Special Media is going to be covering all of the NA Pro Supercross season. Super excited to be working with all of those guys and bringing some of the awesome action to you guys. But here we go, getting a reset. And we are about to drop the gate once again here for Moto number 1 of the MXL Pro Championship. Gate is down and we are going racing. And Ryder's going to be coming flying down that straightaway once again, already getting tangled up. And we are about to see, and it looks like it is going to be Zeke is able to squeak his way through. And he is going to be bringing his teammate Strider right along with him. Dark on that Moto Culture Co. KTM ride. Coy on that East Action Sports KTM, Carter on the CDS, JS on the MRC. We do have Hanks Hockey, Adam H, Frontera, Source, Ethan, Porkchop. There is Kozak, and just behind him is going to be that man Rack. So watch these two fight their way up through the pack here. But we're going to take a revisit back to the front of this pack, as these riders are going to be trying to space out as fast as they possibly can. And this man right here, Zeke, on this MXL FXR ride, he has been putting in some phenomenal showings here the past few weeks. As Zeke is going to continue to make his way out front here. His teammate Strider still in tow with Dark right there behind him. Hinks, the Chrome Star rider, out to a great start. And Source may be able to do some damage here. Second in qualifying. He is going to have a lot to prove here, and it looks like a rider going down there. That is the man Dark. Hockey as well, another rider to be keeping an eye on, the AEO MXL rider. Great ride last week. There is Kozak, Rax, Coy. We have our man J Will in here, and look at that. We're getting tangled up. Kozak gets tied up with another rider, and he is going to lose quite a few there as Ethan, Dark, even Caden going to be finding another position there. Riders trying to find some smooth lines. That little bit of a low line there around the outside. This series is a 250 only series, and Rack's going to lose the front end. Gets tangled up with Coy. And just like that, Rax is going to watch about 10 riders make their way around the outside of him. But man, it is going to be the man out front, Zeke, who is putting on a clinic here on these opening laps. 5-second lead already over the number 2 spot of Hinks on our Chrome Star KTM ride. A great start here for him. Source on the Evoque MRC KTM in that number 3 spot. Strider falling off just a little bit as his teammate Hockey going to make his way around. Adam H on the Motoculture KTM ride, and J Will just there behind him in that 7 spot. Carter in the 8th. We do have Aquas, Ethan, Dark, and Polar all battling out just inside that top 10. Burger sitting just outside of that. JS. There is Neff. He has definitely been putting in some great rides recently as well. Kozak, HW, Porkchop going down there around the outside. And there is Rack, so he is still absolutely buried here. Willie as well going down in that quick 180. Seeing if we have any other big riders back here. KFC and Brad bringing up the rear. That is not usually where they're expected to be. But making his way back down this Bennington Racing downhill. That is our man Zeke. 6-second lead now over the number 2 spot of who is now Source. Hank still keeping the pressure on, and here comes Hockey as he is continuing to make his way towards that podium spot. Strider trying to keep it on track. J. Will, Adam, H, and Carter. Some great rides so far out of a few riders that typically might be sitting just on that top 10 or back. Aquas as well trying to make up some ground. Ethan in there. Ninja Chicken, what is going on, brother? Welcome on in. Appreciate that follow. You got Neff and HW going at it. It looks like that is going to be for about that 12th position. Frontera, Pinky, Dark. There is Rax, and he is going to get tagged. Goes down once again. Burger, the privateer rider, going to grab a free position. Our man Transcend on the Pax ride there. Star Game. And there is Kozak. So not only is Rax having a hard time here early on in Moto 1, but his rival in the championship just as bad. And Rax going down once again, getting tangled up with a lot of these riders. Kozak going to be working his way around the outside. We have Jesse on that Ashika ride. Coy on the East Action Sports Machine. Kozak dumps that front end once again. Rax going to try and dive down to the inside, and he is going to pick up that spot. So once again, as we talked about it earlier in the show, is if these two have a bad moto, there is an opportunity for Hockey to try and grab some very needed points. And this could be that race. If Kozak and Rax can't make it back up there, he has an opportunity to make up a lot of ground on these two guys. Rax going to get tangled up. Kozak going to go down with him. And it is hectic towards the back of this pack. As we dart back towards the front, going to catch up here with Frontera, who even just in front of some of that craziness, still in about that 15th position. Got HW and Ethan battling it out here for the 12th and 13th spot. Whole pile of riders here. Here is Strider and J. Will going 5 and 6. Aqua's in that 7th. Polar, Neff, and Carter. HW, Adam, and Ethan. There he is. So all the way back to 12th there. See if we can catch up with our race leader. 7.5 second lead now as we hit 18 minutes left to go. Still plenty of time and a lot of laps left here in Moto number 1. But so far, Zeke making it look easy. There it is, 9.5 second lead over the number 2 spot of Hockey now. And there he is, Hockey moving his way around Source. Hinks in that 4th spot. J. Will, great ride out of him in 5th. Aqua's 6th. Polar and Neff 7th and 8th. Carter and HW. And where is Kozak? We'll keep an eye on it here. These, both Kozak and Rax, outside the top 22 as of right now. Even Star Game back there in about 15th. Updated timing and scoring making their way by. It looks like Rax and Kozak still right there with each other. There is Kozak. Now up into that 19th position. Rax just there behind him as he grabs another spot before leaping down the big hill. This is awful crazy. If things ended this way, I do believe Hockey would be now a contender for our overall championship. Still plenty of time here in this moto for these guys to make up some ground, though. So we take a look at these riders making their way up this long uphill to a pretty sweet tabletop if you guys haven't ridden this track. Nice little floater up over the side of the hill. Transcend just right there behind him, and Extinct going to be rounding out our top 22. Has Dark right there behind him. Rizzy and Cloud. There's Willie on that SPX performance just outside that top 22. Ethan, what is going on, brother? Appreciate the follow. Polar and Neff making an MXB comeback. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. Neff has been riding pretty solid lately. Past few rounds here with the MXL series. This is a 250 only series, so a lot of these guys feeling at home. If you take a look at, say, Rax, he is out of his element a bit, being a 450 pro rider. But there's our man Neff there on that MXL Nitro Development KTM up over the Zero Racewear tabletop. Puller in that mix as well. And as we say it, he is going to get the commentator's curse. Finds the ground very quickly. And here's our race leader, the man Zeke, who has not looked back, able to grab the whole shot. Got out clean. Dude, we have a lot of guys up here that are running really good. Most of the time sitting outside that top 15. But even like J-Will, we got Carter, even Strider up there in 13th. HW making some passes, charging his way forward. But once again, that man Zeke has been on one here tonight. 9-second lead now over the number 2 spot of Source, who just made a mistake, as Hockey going to be grabbing that number 2 spot back very quickly. Source right there. There is Hinks. And great ride out of the Chrome Star rider, as he is up in that number 4 spot now. J-Will, Neff, Polar, and Aqua's all right here. A little mistake out of J-Will allows Polar to make his way by. He definitely showed in qualifying that he can hang up towards the front, second in qualifying here today. Behind this man right here, Hockey, I believe our fastest qualifier of the night. Trying to set his sights on his teammate, Zeke. And this track is going to get very, very rough. We were talking about it earlier before the gate dropped, is if you can stay up and stay moving, you're going to have a good opportunity at doing well here tonight. And that is exactly what Zeke is doing. A little bobble out of Source there. And if he is not careful, he is going to have the Chrome Star rider crawling up to him. Looks like Hink's starting to grab some of the different and alternate lines. I said this track is going to break down very quickly. Another mistake out of Hockey allows Source back into that number 2 spot. And right now the battle is on between 2 and 3. There is Hinks on that Chrome Star CDS KTM ride in that number 4 spot. Neff going to be our next up on our list, but he is about 10 seconds back off our top 4. And there he is on that MXL Nitro Developments team. Polar right there behind him, keeping him in check. HWJ Will Star Game Pinky. There is Carter. Maybe I missed Aqua's, or he had a mistake. There is Kozak. Ethan on that AEO machine right there behind him, and Rax on the Moto Academy Kawasaki, not letting him get too far ahead of him. Still running in that 15th position though. Obviously, if you guys know who Rax is, he is not used to being this far back, and that is going to go to same with Kozak. See, I don't pay attention enough to a lot of the pro teams, so, which I actually am going to have to, because if you, like I was talking about just before we got racing, is I was offered to do the NA Pro streaming for Supercross this year for Ariel, so super excited to be taking over that. Obviously, the predecessors of Navo got some big shoes to fill, but super excited to be working with that whole crew. I think we're going to have a great year and a lot of great opportunities with some great racing on top of that. Obviously, a lot of great talent in the 250 and 450 class from NA, and opening the door too is obviously Rax is sliding over to the NA side after his EU championship last year. So it is going to be a good one to be watching. A couple of the big heavy hitters all duking it out in the NA class. Still kind of keeping an eye on this ongoing battle as Kozak and Rax slowly fighting their way up, trying to find their way inside that top 10. Yeah, but if you do NA, that means you could be in the studio or be on the stream of special media. Look at this. I don't know if Kozak had a couple mistakes or if Rax is starting to pick up his pace here. He is now right back to the rear tire of Kozak. All Rax needs to do is keep finishing in front of him. He cannot let Kozak gain ground. Well, I don't know if it's became public, but I think they've found a solution for it. So there will be no cheating this year in pro racing. Oh, look at this. Rax was able to make the pass back on Kozak. Toxic, that's what I'm saying, man. And with these guys battling outside the top 10, if Hockey can continue to drive forward, there might be an opportunity for Hockey to be in this. Coming into tonight, he was 20 points back. And Zeke has been on fire here tonight. Got this track absolutely dialed in. Grabbed the whole shot and has not looked back. Hinks as well, a great ride out of him. Neff and Polar still pushing each other, sitting in that 5 and 6 spot. HW on our NGS DRS KTM ride in the 7th spot. J Will in our 8th. And Star Game going to be in 9th. And then we do have Carter currently holding on to that final 10th spot, but he is going to have some heavy hitters here behind him as the Moto Academy rider is making up ground fast on the rear tire down the hill. Late breaks him, and Rax now into that number 10 spot, but he is going to go over the bars, and he is going to find his way into the forest. Kozak and a couple more riders going to be making their way by him. Zeke, definitely a great guy and a phenomenal rider in the game. Great to see him doing well and continuing to keep pushing forward. We're still watching Source, though, try and close this gap back in to Hockey. But you are right. Yeah, Zeke having a few mistakes of his own, fighting through some of this lap traffic. There he is on screen. This is a very hard track to find your way through. Dead President, I'm thinking at this point, if there was no announcement for a B main, I'm guessing he's probably not putting one up. Typically, he would run them kind of in tandem, but if there's enough people that that want B mains, I would definitely reach out to Rico in the MXL Discord. Let him know that that's what you guys are looking for. I know over the past few weeks, usually the B mains don't get a ton of turnout, so. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they just don't get enough people that are interested. They'd rather come in and hang out and watch. I know Hockey probably hoping that timer speeds up. Same thing for Zeke. This is huge for this man. If he can grab a #1 spot here in Moto 1, not only is that a huge confidence booster, but it's also going to look good on the championship points. Hockey going to tuck the front, goes down. Where is Source? There he is. In the Voke MRC KTM ride. He now has Hockey in his sights. Koya lapped rider in there, but has not let these guys get too far away from him. He started great. Seems to have fallen off the pace quite a bit. Same thing with Posty, still hanging in there. Pork Chop, after hanging out by the side of the track, up and moving. We're going to keep an eye out here for our man Neff. There he is, duking it out. Still Polar right there behind him, and HW slowly closing that gap in. As you can see down in that bottom turn, the E-Road's starting to get pretty gnarly here. There is Hank's Star Game as well. That is back to 8th there. J-Will in that 9th spot. There is Kozak and Aqua's. Willie has been on a burner as he has caught and passed Rax now. And Carter still battling it out with the Kawasaki machine. Not quite sure what happened to Rax here. Maybe a few mistakes, battling it out with some of these guys. Aqua's having a mistake there too. Not the ride he was looking for here tonight. Let's take a look if we can catch back up with Willie here as he is putting down some laps here as he is catching Kozak. And then once again, that commenter's curse going to be sending him off the side of the track. Rax right up to his rear tire. Carter as well. Great ride out of him. Still sitting in that 13th spot. And it does look like Zeke was able to rebound here. Has opened that gap back up to about 13 seconds. So exactly where he wants to keep this race with 2 minutes here to go. See if we can even find him on track. As he is, there is Source and Hockey. We'll keep an eye on our battle here for the #2 spot. Hockey having the opportunity to grab a lot of points here tonight, especially here in Moto 1. Source has been riding very good here tonight. Second in qualifying and showing that speed here in the motos. E-Road not seeming to bother him anymore after he kind of figured it out. Early in the moto, found himself on the ground quite often. Little bobble out of him there. Hockey able to reel him in just a little bit more. This battle here for that number 2 spot is going to mean a lot, especially to the number 141 of Hockey on that AEO MXL KTM ride. Source on the Evoque looking to get a podium spot here tonight. These guys make their way towards the finish line. I do believe Zeke is going to cross the line before time expires. So he is going to have 2 to go. But I don't think it is going to phase him. 16, almost 17 seconds now. And he is looking really good. That is going to be Source and Hockey still sitting 2 and 3. And then 20 seconds back is going to be our next rider of Neff, who's made his way up into that number 4 spot. I believe that was HW right there behind him. Great ride out of him. Star Game slowly closing in. There is Polar sitting in that 7th spot. Hinks on the Chrome Star ride in our 8th position. There is Kozak and Rax 9th and 10th now, as they have made it up inside the top 10, but don't know if they're going to have enough time to make anything else. I think it is now becoming a battle of our championship. Looks like Rax does have them on cuts, at least as of right now, but it is only very small, and a little mistake out of Rax there could be the difference. 9th and 10th, only a point separating them, but that is a huge deal when they're only 4 points off each other. Believe Zeke should be coming across any time here, or he may have already made his way past us. There's Transcend. Yeah, there's Hockey and Source, and that battle continuing as Hockey has made his way around Source now. And once again, Hockey having the opportunity to win a lot of points. The difference of 2nd and 3rd is a 2-point difference. But it is going to be our man Zeke, a 14, almost 15-second lead over the rest of this field. Here he is. Keep an eye on him as he makes his way towards the finish line, about half of the track left. I'll still keep an eye on this battle down at the bottom of the hill. Hockey and Source right there on each other's rear tires. Oh, and it looks like Hinks goes down from a different part of the track and is gonna grab Hockey with him. And that is unfortunate. But as we start to set up to see if we can find our number 1 guy here, there he is, Zeke, on the MXL FXR KTM ride. Gets it done here in Moto number 1. Couple of lapped riders making their way through Transcend, and there is Source. So he is going to come down to the line, crosses in 2nd. Hockey going to be grabbing that number 3 spot here. Neff should be our next rider up, so we'll be keeping an eye out to see if we can find him. Polar and HW duking it out there. There is Neff up over the top of the hill on the MXL machine, and he is going to make his way across the line for a number 4 spot. Star Game across the line in 5th. Polar and HW, and it is going to be Polar in 6th, HW 7th. Kozak in the 8th spot, Willie in 9th. Not where he wanted to be. Rax comes across the line there in 10th. So Kozak going to hold on to 2 more points. So now a 6-point difference. That is going to be Hinks across in 11th. J-Will in 12th. We are going to have Ethan across the line there. Aquas is 13th and 14th. Looks like Pinky going down there right at the end on that rising KTM in 15th. Frontera on the AEO machine across the line for 16th. Carter and RJ battling it down to the line. Bob Billy Bikes, what is going on, brother? Welcome on in. Appreciate that follow, man. Toxic saying 6 or 7 points. Someone was going backwards. I was looking at it too and I didn't even catch it. Might be Jesse here. Did anybody catch who was going backwards? If Pinky or anybody or you guys around or no, might be talking to him, that could give us a little clarity. But once again, great ride out of Zeke for that #1 spot here tonight. Definitely a great confidence booster for him and exactly what he needed to do. But as you guys know, we are going to be doing a quick little intermission. Ryder's going to be able to grab a drink of water, take a breather after that 20-minute moto. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to grab just a quick drink. Obviously, I'll still be keeping in chat with all of you guys. And then obviously before we head to our quick little intermission, always huge shout out to everybody that all makes this possible. All the MXL crew, TPR, AB Customs, THV, CBS, VM Visuals, and the big one, Club MX. Huge shout out to all of those guys for making all of this possible, as well as everybody that's been hanging out with us so far. Appreciate you guys. And make sure you guys drop a follow button, hit that subscribe if you guys are tired of watching ads, and we will be right back with everyone. All right, and we are back after a quick little break. Riders should be getting ready to head down to the gate here for Moto number 2 in just a minute. We get ready to watch all of these guys battle it back out there for Moto number 2. Let's take a quick little gander around the track here, see at some of this E-Road. You can tell a lot of these inside lines starting to get absolutely destroyed. Riders going to have to start utilizing maybe some different lines in here. Try and find maybe some of that smooth ground. You can see some of these inside lines absolutely whooped out. If you guys haven't played the game of MX Bikes before, anytime you start to have ruts or E-Road like this, it becomes very challenging to ride. You can see even this outside line starting to get a little work in. The main line here down to this inside. Look how deep and rutted and bumpy that is. Looks like we do have a rider out here. It is going to be Hockey. Curled up on the ground, taking a quick nap here in intermission. And there it is. The horn has gone off. So Ryder's going to be heading on down to the gate here for Moto number 2. We're going to try and set our camera up so we can catch all of the action. See what we can do here. Here we go. This should be a pretty good spot. And once again, is Zeke going to be able to grab the whole shot? And can he run away with this? Does Kozak or Rax have anything to say about it? Or is Hockey going to be grabbing more points here tonight? Source was also on a move there in Moto 1. So we're going to have to see, can any of these guys get it done here and dethrone Zeke out of that number 1 spot? Or is he going to continue the domination here tonight as well? Is Kozak going to hold on to that points lead? Or does Rax have something to say about it? Revs are going to be going up here for Moto number 2 of the MXL Pro Championship. Gate is down and we are going racing. And a whole pile of orange bikes come into turn 1 here. And it looks like it is going to go to Pork Chop. Pork Chop grabs that number 1 spot out of turn 1. He sat on the edge of the track almost all of Moto 1, watching riders go by. He is going to get passed very quickly there by RJ, the MXL FXR rider. And I believe we had quite a few people just cut across the track there. HW, Carter, and Rax all just cut almost the entire track. And we are going to get a reset. Most likely a talking to down at the gate. Practice start. Someone died. Appreciate the follow there, Jerry. What is going on, man? Welcome on in. And here we go, back to the line. If you guys didn't catch what happened there, a couple riders went down in turn 1 and then just went straight across over the finish, so... So once again, we're going to line it back up and we're going to get ready to do the same thing once again. As always, make sure you guys hit that follow button, keep all the notifications on so you guys know when we're going live here in Special Media, bringing all the MXL racing as well. Come Friday, we're going to be bringing all the NA Pro Aerial Supercross racing to us. But here we go. Revs are going up here for Moto number 2. Gate is down and we are going racing. And still some carnage in turn 1. Nobody wanting to let off. Looks like Porkchop going to get another great jump. And he is going to be back into that number 1 spot. Figured out the line. And he has got it again. Stargame and Zeke up in that 2 and 3 spot. We do have Source as well. A much better start. Neff. We do have JS. We have Coy, Ethan, Jesse, Extinct, Oliver, Transcend, Adam. There is Hawkey towards the back of this pack. And where is the Kawasaki? Did he... Looks like a lot of riders might have just cut straight across once again. But it is going to be the man Stargame who is out to the early lead after making that pass happen on Porkchop. Looks like Zeke going to be following him up around the outside. And he is going to be making that pass for the number 2 spot and goes down. No, that is Source. So Source, who was leading the race, goes down hard, opens the door for a handful of riders to be making their way through. We're going to lower the camera down here. It is going to be Stargame there in that number 1 spot. Porkchop still holding strong in the number 2. Zeke in the 3. And HW in that 4th position. There is Coy. There is Source, Neff, Jesse. We do also have Extinct, JS. There is Rax. Ethan right there behind him. Pinky. We do have RJ, Aquas, Carter, Willie, Adam, Puller. There is Kozak battling it out with Transcend. Frontera right there behind him. And a whole slew of other riders. But it is going to be our man Porkchop running in that number 3 spot. Looks like he is going to fall to HW, so back to the number 4. But it is Coy who is now in that 5th spot. Jesse in the 6th. Looks like Coy off the side of the track. Rax trying to make a few passes happen. Around the outside, able to hold on to it. Does look like we have Source cartwheeling off the side. And that is not where you want to go down. We got some fans in here for our man Porkchop, who's holding it down there in that number 4 spot. And oh, he's gonna tuck the front. He's gonna allow Jesse by and a whole bunch of other riders right there on the rear tire. Pinky, Coy, Rax, all right there. But it is going to be Zeke who is back out into that number 2 spot. But Stargame, his teammate, one of our fastest riders in terms of full sprint speed in that number 1 spot. Zeke, though, showed he had the consistency. Can he run down his teammate? And can he make the pass to go 1-1 here tonight? Colbert, what is going on, brother? Welcome on in. Appreciate that follow. Jesse in that number 4 spot. Extinct. There is Rax in that 7th position. Pinky. Looks like he might have him on cuts there. RJ, Coy, Ethan, Willie. There is Porkchop falling back to about that 12th position now. We do have Neff and Source going to be battling it out. And there is Kozak. So a lot of work to do for Kozak to try and catch up to his rival there, the number 31 on the Kawasaki. It looks like Porkchop, another mistake out of him at the bottom of the hill. And he is not helping himself. Source with another mistake going down there, coming up the hill. Aqua's trying to find some real estate, runs into the back of Chase there, the MRC rider on the Husqvarna. Great to see a different color than orange out here today. Even though I am a KTM lover, always like to see some different color in our MXB races. Aqua's off the side of the track there, allowing a couple riders by. Polar, Transcend battling it out there. Oliver in that mix, JS as well. Hinks not the start he was looking for. There is Berger. Yeah, Hockey kind of in the mix of everything in 22nd right now. Not where he wants to be, but it is going to be Stargame still holding on to that number 1 spot. Zeke with a mistake, and it opens the door. HW on that NGS DRS KTM ride into the number 2 spot here early in Moto 2. The Ashika rider here, Jesse, much better ride there in 4th. There is Rax and Pinky battling it out. That is going to be 5th and 6th. Much better start for Willie here in Moto 2. Trying to get that SPX Performance KTM towards the front of this pack. Extinct, Koi, Neff, and there is Kozak. Koi going to be going down around the outside. Ethan having to check up, and Source grabbing a spot as well. Koi having it rough here in some of this E-Road. Look at that, a couple riders already choosing some different lines, seeing where they can find some clean real estate. There must be a hole somewhere in here, and I'm guessing that is it right there. So you can see riders loading and unloading just before they get into that turn. Berger, Strider, JS, Carter. I believe that is the back of the pack there. We make our way back to the front here, though. He has been waiting for it all season long. Stargame able to get a good start and trying to run away with this. 2.5 second lead over our man HW. Jesse was able to make the pass on Zeke, so Zeke falling back to that number 4 spot. Pinky just there behind him, able to hold off the fight from Rax. And now Willie picking up another spot there, moving him into that number 6 spot. And look at the gap that these guys have put on. There is nobody in sight all the way back here to Extinct, Source, Neff, Ethan, Kozak, and Chase all right there together. Next group of riders, RJ, Transcend, Koi, and Polar. Caden as well on that MRC machine. Frontera, Hinks, not the ride he wanted as he is back of the pack here in 19th. Adam H. and a few more riders making their way through. JS, Carter, Strider, our MXL rider. Berger, the privateer. If we make our way back to the top of the hill once again, we should be catching our front runners. Stargame, or no, that is HW out in that number 1 spot now. So Stargame must have had a mistake in allowing the NGS rider into the number 1 spot here. Stargame is going to be running in that number 2 spot. Zeke now back up into the number 3 after making the pass on Jesse. But these guys cannot slow down as these 3 riders, Willie, Pinky, and Rax, all absolutely flying and pushing each other's pace. And Zeke with a mistake down at the bottom of the hill. And that is going to cost him big time as Willie Pinky looking to make a pass, and so is Rax. Oh, and Pinky with a mistake of his own. Matter of fact, I don't think I saw Hockey at all. He may have called it quits. And he did. Aqua's as well, calling it a night. That is unfortunate. Started to gain some points on our front runners and decides to back it out early. Look at this, Willie, Zeke, and Rax starting to catch up to Jesse there. Nobody using that inside line. It's very interesting, even how rutted those two outside lines are getting. Damn, look at this. Missing Toxic running all my numbers. Toxic saying if Stargame wins this moto, Zeke gets 5th. Stargame has an opportunity at an overall, but he is going to have to put in some work as HW has opened that gap now 4.5 seconds, almost 5 over Stargame. And then these guys starting to check out just a little bit more from our man Jesse, but Willie starting to put the pressure on. And Zeke not really, probably not thrilled to have Rax right there behind him, as he is going to be pushing him heavily. Rax throws the rear tire into a tough block, able to recover very cleanly. And that was Jesse down at the bottom of the hill. Rax going to try and find an opportunity around him, not quite close enough, but gets the drive up the hill. And Rax is going to be finding himself another spot there. Exactly what he needs to do. He needs to keep finding positions. Gets a little squirrely in the turn. Jesse, though, following in suit. And here is our number 1 plate, Kozak, still running in about that 9th position. Source still keeping him honest with cuts. Kozak's been doing exactly what he's needed to do, keeping Rax not too far in front of him. And that is how you win a championship. Even if the points are close, if you can still come out on top, that is how you do it. And after this moto, we're going to have 2 rounds left that nobody has had opportunities to burn laps into. Fuela coming out and cooking up 2 brand new tracks for the series. If you guys haven't taken a look at that on the schedule, make sure you guys join over the MXL Discord where all that info is posted. And huge shout out to Fuela for making us some custom tracks for our final 2 rounds in the series. Is Justin Brayton racing? No idea. Still kind of keeping an eye on this battle here. Rax and Zeke still duking it out here. That is for that 4th position. Jesse on the leaderboard showing in 5th, Rax 6th. That is due to Rax having some cuts in there. Pinky kind of alone in his own world here, but he does have Kozak slowly closing that gap in. And as you can see, nobody behind Kozak. Source going to be the next up on our list. 9th here in Moto 2 is not where he wanted to find himself. Polar, Chase, Ethan, Extinct, Transcend, and Neff all at the back of this pack here. That is all the way back to 15th. Hinks and Coy still duking it out there. Frontera back in 20th. We do have Adam H there. When it looks like Pinky retired, that is going to give Kozak a free position there. Look at this, Willie and Stargame duking it out. Where did HW go? There he is in 3rd now. So Willie, who is all the way back in like 7th, making the charge to the front of this pack now and leading this race. 8.5 minutes to go here in Moto number 2. And Willie is letting it all hang out there. Stargame, though, pushing for that number 1 spot, not giving him any bit of breathing room. Willie gets a little kick coming down the hill. Able to recover, though, cleanly. And it looks like HW continuing to fall off the pace here. As he is now behind Zeke. So Rax now moving up to that number 3 spot. Jesse still holding strong. And Kozak going to be back there in 7th. Kind of all by himself here. And as we say his name, he is going to come cartwheeling towards the camera. There is Source about 7 seconds off of Kozak, so still an opportunity to close in. Polar moving his way up to that 7th spot now. Or Polar in 9th, I do apologize. There's Chase the MRC rider in 11th, Transcend, Neff, Ethan, and Extinct. All the way back there to 14th. There is Hinks on that Chrome Star machine. Off the side of the track he goes. Adam H, Frontera, and RJ back to our 18th position. Do have Coy still ripping out here in 19th, and I believe our final rider is going to be Strider. At least on track, maybe even Berger. But we are going to have our front runners making their way back through. Willie still holding strong in that number 1 spot. Stargame in that number 2 position. Rax slowly closing that gap in as he sits in that number 3 spot. There is Berger, the privateer rider, and there is Zeke in that number 4 position. It looks like HW did retire. And Kozak once again crashing just in front of the camera here. So that is going to move Kozak up another free spot. Let's see if we can change locations a bit here. See if we can find any racing action. Looks like everyone kind of finding their own respected positions. Stargame still trying to chase down Willie there as Rax trying to close that gap in. As you can see, only about 6 seconds to the back tire of Star. Zeke running good in that 4th spot. Jesse should be up next on that Ashika KTM ride in 5th, and Kozak should be our next rider in our 6th position. 6th position. And Source, little by little, he is closing that gap in. With a couple of Kozak's mistakes, that is definitely possible that Source finds another spot. And if you are Rax, you want him to. Transcend up there battling for that 10th position. Neff and Ethan battling it out there. And look at this. Riders already trying to find some new lines. This outside getting absolutely destroyed. We're going to see if we can't catch back up with our race leaders. Willie continuing to open that gap as he comes flying down that hill. And it does look like Rax has made the pass happen on Stargame. We'll have to see what cuts kind of bring us. But Rax finding a much better flow here in Moto number 2. That Kawasaki coming alive in some of this gnarly E-road. Looks like Willie got tangled up with a lapped rider just a little bit. Rax and now Stargame starting to catch up to him just a little bit, have him in his sights. Rax getting a little squirrely, not able to hit the tabletop. Stargame trying to make a pass up the inside. Not quite close enough to make it stick, but he is showing the front wheel. Does look like Source has passed Kozak as well for that number 6 spot. And with a minute 20 to go here in Moto 2, Rax trying to grab that number 2 spot away from Stargame, but he is not giving him any room to breathe. Is he going to push him to a mistake, or is he going to push him right to the back wheel of Willie? Stargame finding a good line there, able to keep the pressure on. And we're about to have a 3-way battle for the lead with maybe 1 lap to go. We'll have to see when they cross the line. Stargame trying to use every inch of this track that he can. Good line out of Stargame there. Gets a great drive up the hill. And there it is. So time has expired. So we are going to be seeing white flag come across. And look at this. Willie is right there in front of Rax. And Rax goes down at the bottom of the Bennington Racing Hill. And Stargame now all over the rear tire of our man Willie. Little bobble out of Willie. Stargame right back to his tire. And Stargame has found a few very good lines, able to stay out of some of the E-road. Stargame just looking for his opportunity. Takes a slightly different line through this turn, and then once we cross the start straight, looks like Willie playing a little defense there. Let's see what Stargame can do. Only about 3 turns left. Willie gonna throw the blocks on him. These two side by side up the hill. Both over the table, and it is a drag race to the finish line. Stargame trying to find the inside. And Willie is going to come across the line to grab the #1 spot on the SPX Performance KTM ride. Stargame in the #2 spot, and Ricky Bobby, also known as Rax, in the #3. Zeke across the line for the #4 spot. So if the math is correct, Kozak going to be 1 point ahead of Rax into our final 2 rounds. Jesse across the line for 5th. Great ride out of him. Source kept charging all the way up to a very solid 6th spot. Kozak in the 7th. Strider throwing the 1-footer up. Polar and Transcend, 8th and 9th. Great ride out of Transcend there for the 9th spot. Chase on the MRC ride in 10th. Ethan, our AEO MXL rider, in 11th. Neff, not the ride he was looking for. Going to be grabbing a solid 12th, though, in a very stacked field. Extinct as well in 13th. Adam in 14th. Frontera going to be 15th. And thought we do have one more rider on our lead lap, and that is going to be our man Hinks as he comes across the line for that Chrome Star Racing team. So that is going to do it for us here tonight. We're going to go ahead and kick things on back down to the booth here for just a quick minute as we continue to finalize up our race day. Once again, as always, appreciate all the sponsors and everybody that is able to help us put this together. I know it is getting late, so unfortunately, probably not going to be doing any podium speeches here tonight, as I do have work in the morning. So as soon as we get our overalls, we'll announce those. We'll go ahead and wrap things up here for tonight. And then, like I had mentioned, Friday, we are going to be streaming the NA Pro Supercross round #1 here at Special Media. Make sure you guys are tuning in, checking it out. If you guys don't qualify, make sure you guys hang out with us over here at Special Media. If not, I hope you guys do qualify, and we'll be announcing your guys' names. But there it is. So points are in. Zeke, our MXL FXR rider, is going to be grabbing the number 1 spot here tonight. Star Game finally able to put himself up on the podium in that number 2 spot. And Willie is going to grab that final podium position in that number 3 position. So huge shout out to those 3 guys. Source is going to grab that number 4 spot overall, and Rax in that 5th. So great riding, great racing all the way down to the wire. Like we're seeing here, it does look like Rax may have made up some ground here on our overall points. Let's take a quick look. Has not updated yet, so we will not have a exact total. But as we can trust Toxic, it is a 1-point difference heading into our final 2 rounds. So definitely a fantastic series going on, and a lot of time and a lot of points to be gained heading into our final 2. Once again, appreciate everybody hanging out with us, everybody that's supported us through everything. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your night, and we will see you guys next week on Wednesday for another MXL Pro Championship round, as well as on Friday for the Aerial NA Supercross A1. Hope you guys all had a fantastic time. We will catch you guys all next week and Friday. So hope everyone has a great and fantastic night, and we will catch you guys on the flip. Peace.